Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about the one, the only, beautiful Xcn. Now, I know there's been so many mixed reactions, whether it's on my comments, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's just, sometimes I just see someone say something randomly about Xcn. I know there's been love, there's been hate. People are in disbelief. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, you got to remember Xcn did run up, depending on where you bought, anywhere from like 20 to 50x, just a couple of months ago. So you have to realize, if you did buy higher up, you got to realize it's just simply recovering from a pump. And that's something we are going to be discussing today. We are going to be discussing the short-term price action, the long-term price action. Of course, this news event that came out just 11 hours ago, staking is currently at 33.33% APR. Get started and stake now below. So we can see, ladies and gentlemen, if you were to get in right now, it should be 33.3%. Now it will adjust, right? Depending on how many people there are, how much is staked, it will adjust. So the more people that get involved, the more that is staked, the lower it gets, because they cannot sustain the insane rewards. Okay, and that is just the truth. That is just how it always works. And that's not an Xcn issue or whatever. That's just how every single crypto works. Okay, so the more people that stake, it has to average out a little bit better, and it will average out a little bit lower. So, get in while you can, right? Because who knows, maybe, this will maximum drop to 25%, and you can be getting this type of APR, 25%, which is still so much better than literally 95% of cryptos. So we can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is fantastic. Should I repost this, which would eventually lower the percentage I'm receiving as more coins are staked, or keep this on the low? I know that's the thing. People don't know if they should share it or not, if they should gatekeep it. Jokes only lets few people stake. Supposedly some people are having issues. I have tried staking on the app. It won't let me. I put my crypto here. It said approved exit, came out back in. It's gone. It was gone. I've tried connecting to the wallet. It refused to listen. This is probably some type sync and update it. It's a glitch. Actually works quite smoothly in my experience. Yeah, no, from my experience too, it has been very, very smooth personally. So maybe it's this person's computer or whatever. I mean, who knows? There's always anomaly situations and problems out there. Listen, before we jump into the price, listen, guys, this is the chill guy. Now, this was talking about this in a different video. But look, this thing went from 600 million market cap to 30 million. So this thing is in the dumps, but what's not in dumps? And I know people are gonna, clown this a little bit, but Xcn's actually not in the dumps when you really, really think about it. Yes, right. Obviously, when you look over the last year where this thing once was at 15 cents, it technically is. But that's because it started at probably the worst time ever it came out. Okay, just letting you guys know, like May 2022. Yeah, that was not a good time to be out. So, but we can see over the last year, ladies and gentlemen, this thing has been up a lot. Okay, over the last year, it has been up a lot. Currently, it's still up 626% on the year, and that's not even talking about its peak or some of these highs up here. In the last month, it is down 17%. We have been kind of moving sideways and downwards, generally speaking. Obviously, there was that big event that happened practically a week ago now, where a lot of cryptos did dump. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember, Xcn only dumped roughly 35% or so. There's been cryptos that have dumped 75, 85, 80%, up to 90%, and Xcn barely moved compared to them. So really makes you think, right? Really makes you think. Overall, in the last 7 days, we are down almost 14%. In the last day, we are down 4%. Still no Binance listing or some of the bigger boys, but I believe that we will have our time when it comes to Binance and everything else. We can see, ladies and gentlemen, holders are consistently rising, and it does not disappoint. People see the value, institutions see the value in Xcn, and I know you're thinking, well, if people are buying, why is the price going down? That's because, ladies and gentlemen, this whole market's much more complicated than you think, right? It really, really is. And I know that's not the thing you guys want to hear necessarily, but it's the truth. Just because, there could be a lot of people buying doesn't mean it's going to go up. And you're probably thinking, how does this work? And it's, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to crypto. Welcome to crypto. Welcome to life. Everything is manipulated in this life. So yeah, we can see, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to say, right? I do want to say this right away. There may be a spike in price. We may go up to 1.1, 1.2 cents. Now, I want to say this so it's clear as day. That does not necessarily mean that we are back, okay? Because, ladies and gentlemen, last time when we went up, we went into a, let's just say, institutional candle. We went into a bank candle and we sold off. And last time we said the same thing. If this does not hold, and by the time this day finishes, if it looks very, very weak, it was just simple manipulation. And I'm saying this right now because we could see a spike, above 1 cent. Again, we could see a 26%, 25% spike, but it won't mean anything. Okay, it won't mean anything. As of right now, we are consistently, other than, looking out for this sniper spot potentially, right, that we might tap into, we are just consistently showing on the 4-hour time frame lower and lower highs consistently, clear as day. Okay, clear as day, right? We have a high over here, lower high. We have double bottoms, or double tops, lower high, lower high. I mean, sure, we have this lower high. You could debate it's higher than this, but it doesn't really matter in the end. It only matters about the edges, lower high, right? We have consistent, lower bottom, lower bottom, lower bottom, lower bottom, lower bottom. Sure, this bottom's a little higher than this one, but I mean that the situation was crazy. But overall, the edges are consistently getting lower and lower and lower, right? Whether it's the top or whether it's the bottom, which means ultimately we are just kind of in a bearish trend. Okay, and that is just the truth. We are just kind of selling off right now, right? The markets are still shaken up. They're still correcting from what happened the other day. So, don't get too surprised that, things are still going to be selling off. Like I said, we could see a spike potentially tap into this 4-hour candle, but do not get excited, because if we do not close strong on that day, that's just another classic Xcn manipulation where it goes up, sells off, right? Up, sells off. So just be wary of that. Just be wary of that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, things are looking fairly bearish. An area where we could potentially be reversing, right? There are a few zones. We do kind of have a support here. Now, I don't really expect this support to hold too much. Fantastic. I mean, that's exactly what I was just thinking. Status access violation. Cool, dude. Let me refresh and try this one more time. So now we're back on ZBEC. Maybe that's what life is trying to tell you. Just buy ZBEC. I mean, personally, I would buy ZBEC over Xcn. Personally. Okay, but I still like Xcn. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have this support line. It is, like I said, not looking strong at all. We do have this other zone right over here, right? Boom. So we could be potentially reversing off this. Once again, it is extremely hard for me to say 100% because we are trending down, right? I need to see reversal signs in the moment for me to tell you that, yes, we're going to be reversing off these zones that I marked up. As of right now, I could tell you just potential zones to be looking out for. Now, you might be thinking, well, why did you put a zone down here? Because, ladies and gentlemen, there's probably a bank or institutional candle somewhere down here around the 0.75, right? I just butchered that, but around the 0.0075, there's probably some type of institutional candle in there. So just be wary of that. But that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys still in the markets? Are you still in Xcn? Let me know what you guys think. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.